Right, hello and welcome. Let me see if I can drag in my colleagues here. We have Jack Coonan. Hey Jack, how are you?
And no lower things.
I think we've got Kevin there as well, have we? Hopefully we will have Kevin. Should have Rob King and
Yep.
Sean. Did you manage to get in? We haven't got Sean, so we wait see. Yeah, he was there. Jack, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm in a different country. In the short time that's been since the last time I was on broadcast, I'm in Germany now, so that's the difference.
Why are you in Germany, Sean?
Well, that's Jack.
Not Sean, Jack.
Why is
very well with the guy all day long, every day.
Haven't spoken with you in a long time, Rob.
Oh my God. It's all of 4 minutes ago. Sorry, Jack. Tell us why you're in Germany, Jack.
I'm on my Erasmus year from college, so
You're on
I'm
the
currently
Raz.
teaching. Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'm working in a secondary school over here teaching English. So the kids' English is probably going to get worse as a result.
Yeah, just learn loads of sim racing words, basically, and motorsport terms.
Yeah.
What did you learn today? Shunting.
Oversteer and understeer.
Right, so everyone's probably wondering what we're trying to do tonight, but I guess look, it's a stream. We're going to try this before every race for the IDMC. We've got myself, Niall Maher, we've got Kevin, Jack, Rob, Sean. We're just going to be talking about basically just about sim stuff and what's going on with this IDMC league. Did you manage to watch round one, or were you travelling, Jack?
Actually, I was travelling during that. I couldn't get Wi-Fi on a Ryanair plane.
Oh, you were actually on the plane while that was going on?
Yes, I was.
We were wondering where you were.
Yeah, I was. I think I have a valid excuse. I was like 40,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, we'll let you off.
There's 13
Thanks.
people watching this right now. I can't believe that. I'd say we're 5 or 6, are we? So
Probably.
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah.
there is
Wonder if we
actually
get some
some. So
decent
if you're wondering why
sponsorship.
my screen's bouncing around, and for anyone who's never tried it, I'm in VR and I'm looking out over the pit of Road Atlanta. This is round 2. We're still waiting for Kevin to join in. Did he manage to get going? I can see him in there.
See him in, but he's on mute. So obviously he's trying to get his mic sorted or something.
Let me just explain to the people who are watching, who aren't us, what we're doing. So
One's left us now.
Oh yeah, it's not a good sign.
That was me. I got bored.
So what we're doing is we're going to have a recap of the first race, round 1, which was Le Mans, and we've got some footage to look back over that, I believe, Niall. And what we're looking at right now is the free practice session for round 2, which is coming up this Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So this is, you've got on track right now, you've got the BMW M8 GTEs, and they're the Pro class. And in the amateur class, you've got, the Pro-Am class, you have the BMW M4 GT4. So 2 classes of cars, and we've got Pro and Pro-Am drivers. And they're all competing for €1,000 prize money.
They are indeed,
and glory.
And if, the stream quality for the actual cars and track might be a bit rough. That's because I'm looking at it in VR. In my VR, it looks absolutely perfect. And look at all those people out in the hill. So we'll have a little look around this track as well later on. Currently, we can, we're waiting for Kevin. Hopefully, he's actually just pinging me here. What's he saying? Okay, all good. He's saying he thinks it's good. Not actually, Kevin, because we can't hear you. He just pinged me back and said, no, sorry.
I see Keith Dempsey has just gone quickest as well.
Yeah, let's pull up the times and see if we can do that.
Jordan Kelly's been quickest all session so far, and
hold on, lads. Have you seen the picture of Brian McManus? His new racing profile thing.
Nice.
That looks actually quite good.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna give him a thumbs up. That is a great effort by
I was gonna roast him for it, but no, I can't. Pretty good.
Yeah, we usually would just take the absolute piss out of him for something like that, but genuinely, that's
fair play, Brian. Good effort.
Good effort there, yeah. But let's bring up the timings and see if this will work. Here we go. Death, oh, look at that. That's very pro.
Oh,
Keith Dempsey.
SDK.
Now, Keith Dempsey is back with vengeance here because he wasn't really that happy about Jordan leaving him. What did he end up? 10 seconds, 12 seconds behind?
15.
15. Jeez, that's very unlike Keith. Brian McManus gone super well. So what are we down to? Top 10. Second for the top 10. Josh Mallon. He went really well, Rob. He's a guy you met over at Autosport, right? What's the story behind Josh?
Well, Josh is a young driver, I think 21 years old, Ginetta GT5 driver, currently leading the championship, and they are a support round for the British Touring Cars. Prior to that, he raced MX5s, and I think he did 2 or 3 seasons of that, and I think he won every championship that he was in. And like,
wow,
that's not easy to do. So he's got some skills. And he's handy enough in the sim as well.
He did go well. He did go well. Yeah, I was really impressed with him. That's important to see if he's out. Tom Ingram's out there as well.
Oh, is he very good? I don't even know, has he done any? I just sent him a WhatsApp there and said, here, practice is on. And he was like, all right, yeah. So I assume he's driven Road Atlanta before. But I don't know, has he been doing any practice? You wouldn't know these boys. They're all sandbagging anyway. They wouldn't tell you the truth. So
this is a track that I think Keith will know quite well, so he'd be a bit more confident going into this round than he was in the previous one, after, especially since he got his confidence a little bit knocked last week.
That's very professional, Sean. That wow.
Sorry, I literally just took a swig of beer before I came out with that. That's the best shit I'm going to get me all night. I'm going back to being quiet.
Sean is always auditioning.
Bit of a mouse pad on a P1X.
Yes, I've discovered recently that I don't have a cup holder with my P1X, so I decided to install a mouse pad because it holds pint bottles of Peroni, and they're really sturdy. You can actually stick 2 of them on it.
There you go. So, that's consumer advice right there.
Yeah.
So we're looking at
#SimLabs.
the times. Let's go back and ride on board with Keith Dempsey here while we're waiting for Kevin. I don't know. He's having some technical difficulties. Saying laptop updates and that. And just like I say that, Keith Dempsey decides to pull into the pits again. Or did he?
He knows you're watching him.
Yeah. You know what? This is probably... I was going to hang on for Kevin to do the race review, but let's jump straight into that. As time's consuming. So Brian McManus was good enough to put together I think it's 20-minute long. So we'll play that in the background. But race 1, IDMC. Rob, do you want to give a small introduction to what the Irish Digital Motorsports Championship is, where it's come from, what these drivers need to do to take part, and I guess a little bit about the digital license and stuff, which is kind of cool while I load this up.
Yeah, sure. So the IDMC stands for Irish Digital Motorsport Championships, and similar to iRacing, it follows a 4-season calendar. So spring, summer, autumn, winter. So every season is a new championship, and we're currently in the hang on, that's Bixby on my phone there, getting all excited. Turn that thing off. I don't even know what that is.
We've lost another viewer there, Rob.
We're going to a commercial break.
Well,
So
what was I on about? Autumn season. So yeah, this is the first season in the IDMC, and it's a 9-round championship of a mixture of endurance and sprint races, and it's sponsored by Mondello Park, who have been fantastic supporters of all of this stuff that we've been doing with sim racing, digital motorsports for the last 18 months or more, and it's arguably, or arguably more importantly, it's in association with Motorsport Ireland, and it's the country's first national ranked championship. So if you win the IDMC championship and you win the 4 seasons, you can be crowned the country's fastest sim racer, basically, and you win the right to go on and represent the country in Europe or globally. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And to take part, you need a digital competition license, which you can get via Motorsport Ireland. So yeah, so that's what it's all about in a nutshell. And round 1 was at Le Mans 2 weeks ago, and I think we're about to have a look at it now. So you can probably see on your screens the
Great guys, Wayne Douglas, Walter, Tony Scott, up to three. So he's more pros in at this time than he did. So Tom England, of course, he's already done as well. Everyone should get a clean.
Mike McGuinness.
It's McGuinness, yeah.
I couldn't
No,
quite see.
Wacker was 5th, I think.
No, wasn't it Kevin Shine?
Whacker.
I'd like to say I haven't, but I have.
Sorry,
It's not
Ross,
too
there's
often to
guys
give
in
you
the
that.
streamer saying that we might have lost a bit of sound there, so just might want to check that quickly.
Oh, okay.
Probably lost me then, did you? Anyway,
I don't know, I could hear you twice. I've got an echo.
highlights.
Yeah.
Mickey Meredith asking, is it full replay or heard? Yeah, I can hear myself a little bit.
No, it's not a full replay.
Kevin's saying he can't join because his mic won't work.
And which is now, can you hear me?
Oh yeah,
Hey!
way!
Hey! Yeah, I know, it only took 20 minutes.
Welcome
Don't
to the
worry
party.
about it. Thank you very much. A very professional entrance, I think you'll all agree.
Just in time, actually.
Well, if just in time, it's more like just in time in terms of what my missus thinks is just in time. So we're about 15 minutes late, lads. So if that's what you think is in time, then I'm very happy with myself. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, in time-honoured tradition, the laptop decided to update itself, and then when I went to plug in the mic, it was like, you don't have a microphone. So yeah, we're all good. We're all up and going now, and I'm doing better than Michael McGuinness anyway. It needs to be said. That needs to be said.
Straight in there.
Straight in, controversial. Anyway, we're into lap 1. Kevin, of course, you did the commentary on this with Sam. Jack, we just found out, was on a Ryanair flight. Talk us through this incident. This was, you can see Brian McManus in the background going the wrong way of the track, but
It
Barrable,
was the
I
reverse
believe.
right here. It was a Barrable that reversed out. I mean, it's such an easy place to get it wrong, especially I think that was one of the opening laps, if I'm right in remembering. And like down into Indianapolis is such an, I think we've all done it, especially in the M8s. I feel like those M8s are so. There's such a propensity to lock up if you're on cold tires and your cold brakes. It takes a while to kind of get stuck into it, and the pace was so quick to begin with. In both classes, in fairness, from both Alex Stenning and Jordan, but the pace was so quick that it was so difficult for those guys to keep up. And then two abreast, plenty of incidents. And as you were just saying earlier, guys, great to have those live stewards as well. It's such a brilliant thing to be able to look back and have a fair, that's really like we all love iRacing, but it's one of the things that it definitely misses is that kind of that equal share
Well,
of
speaking
blame,
of-
regardless of.
this one here coming up for race stewards type thing. What was the whole turn? It was like everyone in turn 3 decided here, let's all take each other out or something.
I think I said at the time it was turn 3's Ferrari impression.
Oh jeez. Right. Let's get all the disclaimers out of the way right now.
I don't know. It's so strange. We were so surprised, to be honest, even watching it. Myself and Sam, it was so strange to see all three of the guys in the same livery, and we were kind of thinking to ourselves, are these all teammates? And then we kind of looked at the live timing, and we were like, my God, what has happened there? Especially so early on as well that it happened. You think those guys would kind of be taking a handy, especially given that they're teammates. But
they never take a handy. They're
And
all racing.
they all, most of them race in real life as well, which is even more surprising. That's something you'd expect maybe to see from people who've only ever raced in Sims. So, but yeah, just on what you were saying there,
feel
Kev,
the
about
emails and texts coming in already.
Yeah, we're gonna instead of race incidents, we're gonna get commentary incidents now.
I know, just watching it back there, it was it was such the bit through the very last chicane. I think it was just really bad luck. They were so close, and it was just unfortunate. I don't think it was necessarily a lack of skill or talent or any of that stuff. It was just one of those things, and they were very unlucky.
Speaking of skill and talent, that was a great move there by Holman.
Nicky Merritt is just saying on the stream here, every man for himself, which is pretty understandable. I'm sure the lads will be delighted to see that.
So we've already slated all of turn 3, Michael
Who's
McGuinness,
next?
Ferrari. Yeah.
Next.
I haven't said a word, can I just say?
Jack is just sitting in the background going, I'm staying out of this. Jack has a career ahead of him.
I think Jack did a couple of months of HR in college, so he knows the ramifications of this.
Yes.
But no, just to touch on what Kev was saying there about the student, it was actually great for the three of us as well, because we've done a good few of these championships now, and although the driving's always really, really good fun to watch and good to kind of investigate the incidents afterwards, it just gave us a bit more of a, I don't know what the word to use, it gave us a bit of a spark, and it really kicked the championship off really, really well.
That's the idea for this stream tonight as well, because there's an awful lot of stuff that goes on in the background that we don't get to talk about, or there's hopefully the idea behind this is somebody's watching in that doesn't know how to get involved in this series and maybe a little bit intimidated by the words like pro and pro-am and Irish Digital-Motorsports Championship. The great thing about iRacing is at the end of the day it's just a bunch of people sitting down at home and talking like this over Discord. So we're using a system, if anyone's not familiar with it, called Discord. We're all not in the same room, we're at home. I actually have beat Lawrence, who has a quite nice setup at home in his house. Jimmy Broadband second in a shed. I'm in my hot press. That's where my sim is.
Yeah, I'm in the garage. Just to jump in there, on that point about the technology and how to get involved, it's something we've spoken about and we haven't figured out how we're going to do it yet, but we will be doing in the not too distant future some kind of live broadcast session group thing which is just for beginners, and it's going to be basically a walkthrough of iRacing and Assetto Corsa or whatever we choose to do. We probably do both. Literally what buttons you press to do XYZ, how you get involved, how you join leagues, how you get into Discord, all this kind of stuff, and we're going to run through it step by step. So that's something that's coming up. If that's something that you'd be interested in, leave us a comment in the comments section below. Where else would you be leaving it? And let us know what questions you might have, and we're going to try and put not a course together, but we put a shape on this kind of this open forum, this group that introduces people to sim racing.
And it's interesting, Rob. It was actually, and it is picking up again on what you've picked up on. We were speaking here about the pro-am class, and it's really great for those guys. I think a lot of whom are obviously long-time sim racers, most of whom are fairly established sim racers, but wouldn't necessarily have the same real road kind of experience behind them. To have live stewards to kind of guide them along, like I know a good few guys, and we were talking about it at the watch party a few weeks ago when we watched back the original race. It was more a case of kind of guiding guys, that it wasn't all about applying penalties and being really strict, but it was a little bit more about kind of just nudging them in the right direction, kind of saying, look back over this, you could have avoided this by doing that, or maybe if you'd looked a little bit further down the road, you could have seen this was approaching. And that's a really good learning experience for those guys, and that's what makes this whole thing so great, because look, in Ireland we're unfortunately unfortunately going back into level 3 again tonight, so Kildare won't be accessible by the other counties. So for guys to be able to get that learning experience away from the Digital Motorsports Hub and learn, racing with guys around the world, well, I know, but largely, in wherever they are, to get that live feedback from stewards is absolutely invaluable. No?
The other thing I would say is that the Pro-Am class, here in this championship, it's a bit of a misnomer, because like calling these guys Pro-Ams is these guys are shit hot. Like they're not. Yeah. They're not amateurs at all. They're really, really good. The level that myself and Sean are at, Niall's a bit better than us, unfortunately, as much as I hate to admit it.
It's live on the internet. He has
recorded that somebody.
He's much quicker than us at most of the. So we wouldn't be at the races with this stuff, even in the Pro-Am class. So there's a level down from this, which is the real amateur stuff, and that's where the Mudslinger series that we've launched comes in as well. But there's even a level below that, but there's an entry level that we're not catering for at the moment that we will be doing soon, and because it is complicated. There's lots of tech, and there's lots of terminology, and you have to break through the cliques that there are there, and there are like kind of little groups and cliques and teams and stuff, and you don't know when you should be talking in Discord and who to be talking to, and but it's all, everybody is really friendly and everybody's really relaxed, and but it's just knowing what to do and when to do it, kind of thing, and that's what we need to kind of educate people on, I guess.
Yeah, you're dead right, Rob. Like when you're looking at just back on screen, the likes of Tony Stack, anyone who's down in that Pro-Am class, and it's a testament as well to just how much Alex was able to win that race. It is by no means an entry-level class. Well, like you've got Brendan Stone in there. Like Brendan Stone has lap records around Mondello and stuff. It is.
Well, Alex Stenning is, sorry to cut across you, is arguably the next greatest thing to come out of this country. Like he, by all the people that I know in Mondello Park, all the instructors, he's largely considered to be, dare I say it, the next coming in again. The next Niall Murray, who's won pretty much everything there is to win. Yeah. So, watch that space.
And the only thing that was disappointing about that was Adrian Camfield, an absolute dynamite driver. Like he raced in Lotus 7s, is it?
Yeah.
Caterham, sorry. Yeah.
Caterham.
He was in the Pro-Am class, and I forget who dropped out. I think it was Michael McGuinness and himself swapped around. But I would have loved to seen Michael McGuinness, Stenning, and himself going at it, because I think that there would have been really, really class racing to watch. But for a grade of 60,
was so unfortunate as well in that. Like he was so unfortunate in that Pro-Am class, because Alex had set, and Michael was telling us ourselves, that Alex had set such a hot pace to begin with that Michael was kind of wondering was his tires going to go off near the end, so he was kind of playing the long game, Michael. And then when that incident happened with the one of the pro cars through Tete Rouge, it just killed any chance. And it would have been really, really interesting to see what kind of time Michael would have been able to claw back, and whether he would have had the time to have made back on Alex, because he even said by the end he could see by the times that Alex's tires were slightly going off, but just the gap was just too much to make up. But it's a pity. I'm really looking forward to that next week to see how that battle recommences. It should be really, really fascinating one.
Yeah, just to go back on Adrian as well. If I remember back to the TCR championship, Adrian was fighting for wins in that. Yeah, and remember, he was up
true, actually, Jack. Yeah,
he was up against Keith. He was up against so many others. Against Craig Breen, all of those, and he's very quick in TCR cars. So if you get him mixing it up with Michael and Alex, I mean, that's gonna be a hell of a battle if he gets in there.
And it's great to see these guys, because even we don't talk about the very bad day, right? But where it was Alex and Adrian as well. But when you think back to the TCR Cup, and even there with we have to comment about Evan just losing the back end of the car there. Sorry, but when you think back of where we started off in this, and Rob would know, and Jack indeed, there was times when we'd be commenting on people driving the wrong way up the track, or coming off the side track. It's great to see and it is a sport now. Like, it is going to be written into the, you know, the MI rule book and stuff. It is great to see people taking it as serious as they can, right? Because at the end of the day, we still want it to be a bit of fun and people get out and race. But I do think this is the first race I've seen end to end where there was no shenanigans in it. I think everyone was racing to the best of their abilities, and like this stuff through here. Le Mans was a great track to start off on, but going to Road Atlanta is going to be such a challenge, especially with the different paces between the M4s and the M8s.
Yeah, I think when the pack bunch up again towards the end of the race, it's gonna be a good watch, because it's not there aren't very many great overtaking opportunities. Not that I've witnessed anyway. This isn't a track that I know very well, but it's just a lot better than Le Mans.
It's so narrow as well, and there's the speed difference between the GT4 and the GTE cars. The M8s are going to be held up all over the place, and especially through the long downhill S section. You know, it's going to be tricky. So even if a car does pull a gap, you know, as soon as they come across traffic, which they will, they're going to be right on their tail again. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
Like, if you think a lap time is 3:46 around here, race pace for Le Mans. 1:14s the M8s are doing Road Atlanta in. So again, it's different. It's going to be sprint races. But I was actually having a quick chat earlier on to Keith Dempsey, and he was concerned. Not concerned. Sorry, that's the wrong word. Keith's never concerned. He was just saying, look, we'll probably get to lapping the M4s, which I hadn't really considered. I thought 14-lap race they won't, but at that pace they actually will. There's 10 seconds lapping the difference, so 140 seconds, they will get up on the back of them.
Yeah, they will. They will, yeah.
I think for all of us here, so for Jack and Kev, they're going to be very busy lads, and for us three doing the steering, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep up, to be honest.
Well, let's just see if that's going to happen, because this is... we had Kieran as well, Kieran McGinley, but unfortunately his PC wasn't up to the gig for Le Mans. But Jack, are you around this Wednesday?
Think so, yeah. I hope so.
Well, are you set up in Germany?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because to be honest, like, I've missed the hell out of doing this championship. Even the 1 week I've missed the hell out of it. So I'm eager to get back in it, because I mean, it's nearly a year and a half since I started doing it at the start.
And you're like a celebrity now, right? You were like on TV and stuff.
Yeah, people stopped him in the tree.
Oh yeah, I was, wasn't I? Yeah.
You're on Oh, he says that so like, oh, was I? You were on BT Sport.
Yeah, I was, yeah. Twice, actually.
Oh, sorry, Jack.
Didn't last long.
No, my book's coming out at Christmas.
By the way, yeah.
My story.
And Kevin, are you going to be around as well?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I really enjoyed the last one, and just about Road Atlanta, like we did the Petit Le Mans last weekend at a very much lower split than these guys, and definitely not as experienced drivers as these guys. It is interesting because I know that you're saying. Yeah, there was a touch there, definitely, I think, at the back of Jason.
Sorry, I could have crossed it.
That's not the first one that's happened as either. There's one coming up that's pretty interesting to the GT4s as they made their way around the last lap. But yeah, I just think like it will be interesting to see. Like you say, it's a 14-second difference, but obviously that's a 14-second difference in clear air. And like I can tell you, like just even if they were to get lap each other, or if any of the M8s had an issue in the opening lap and had to make back places, like just the lack of aero, like we did it in a GT car. We did it in the M8 actually, but we had LMP2s. Obviously, there's more aero with them. There's more of a difference, I imagine, off the line, and that was tough enough as it was. We were constantly looking in our mirrors. I imagine if you're an M4 and you're looking at an M8, which has, obviously more aero than the GT4 cars, but it's not exactly an LMP car at the same time. It's going to be pretty interesting going through, particularly the last turn and first turn of Road Atlanta. Like that last turn is definitely an overtaking opportunity. But it's like you have to really nail it, because if you you have to really nail that line to get through it flat, and it'll be interesting to see who lifts and who doesn't, who's willing to take the risk, you know.
Well, speaking about lifting and who doesn't, we're going to see one of the incidents which everyone on the last lap of Le Mans, you could see coming down into the chicane, was just trying to make that last position, sacrificing everything for it. But it's this one here, I think. Well, sorry, this is Alex Stenning. What a class drive, just to call him out. Like, he hasn't been in a championship with us since the TCRs, and to come back and do this at that level, as we were saying, McGuinness was thinking that his tires would go off, and that's one of the things people probably don't realise. Like, these guys aren't driving around using hand controllers and Xbox and stuff. They've actually got steering wheels, proper pedals, proper steering wheels, direct drive, all that stuff. Single screens, triple screens.
Sorry for laughing in the background there. Let me just tell the guys who are watching this. We were talking about the level that myself and Sean and yourself are at earlier on, and versus the level that some of these guys are at. We were on a server practicing earlier on in the week with some of the VRA guys, and Jordan Kelly, who races Formula V.
There it is.
That's it.
That's how you do it, though.
What was he saying? Jordan is taken to this stuff like a duck to water. Now, he's pretty handy in a real car as well. But Jordan, I think he was down the country somewhere. He wasn't at home with his own rig, and he was playing on a laptop or something. And he was steering. He didn't have a wheel. He was steering left and right with the left and right buttons on a mouse, and he still fucking beat me.
Yeah, that is a fair shout. Yeah.
That's unbelievable. It is amazing though how I think this whole lockdown is showing a lot of people how transferable those skills are. You know, like a lot of people would have thought before. I know obviously the success, the red line stuff with Verstappen and Norris and all that, but you know, it does show you both ways how transferable the skills are, how little difference there is now. Like, you know, before you'd have played whatever Gran Turismo on a controller and obviously bared little to no relation as to actually driving a car, whereas now iRacing and the Assetto courses and the R Factor 2s are so close in terms of physics, and they're so nailed on in terms of the laser scan tracks and everything, that there's so many transferable skills. Like, I have Mandello in R Factor, and I'm really looking forward to getting up there as soon as time allows to have a bash off a car, and I'm looking forward to actually doing it in the sim and then taking that knowledge and actually applying to be quicker, because like there's so many guys that are sim racers, and you see they don't have the physicality necessarily that sim driver or that real drivers would have, but they're just as quick, and it's actually very interesting to see how their bodies try to adapt to. They have the speed, they have the technical ability, but they don't have the conditioning for it. So it's fascinating to see how both ways it transfers, how guys that are in the real world can pick it up so quickly and get that feel, and guys that are sim racing can go out in real life and smash it, you know.
Well, that was actually something we saw quite often during the middle of lockdown when it was on a global scale, well, particularly in Europe. There was a lot of race teams and privateers that couldn't get out racing because the tracks were closed, they couldn't travel. So any money that they'd normally spend on fuel and tires and all that sort of stuff, they'd saved up for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, and they were kind of going, right, well, how do we keep at it? How do we stay involved? How do I keep that fire lit and keep training? And that was the main thing for them, was to be able to train for the upcoming season when it was ever to recommence. And they got in touch and they got full setups from us, and the feedback that we've gotten from them was just that, you know, it's really, really enhanced the skills, but it's also got them involved in a new style of racing that they wouldn't have had a chance to be a part of beforehand, you know.
And I definitely think maybe I'm wrong, because this is me from the outside looking in, but maybe there was a hint of snobbery from the real driver's side, that they probably thought, you know, like a lot of the sim racing, it's not real racing, you know, it's not, you know. And actually I definitely get a sense now that there's a new found respect for not only sim racing as an activity, but actually the sim racers themselves, and the amount of time and effort and dedication that they have. As we see a lot of the guys that are racing now in the pro and pro am class, there, the amount of dedication they have, you know, online is it's just as much, if not more, because as we say, you know, you come to a track on a Friday, you get a practice, you get a bit of a shakedown, you know, you might get into quali on Saturday. In a sim, you're expected to be on there 3 or 4 hours every day to get to the level of the best, you know. I thought that was a really interesting kind of thing that progressed over lockdown, that kind of legitimization of it, and all the best that Digital Motorsports were there in the first place. You know, that you guys were leading it and had that belief in it well before, since lockdown, this newfound kind of appetite for it has emerged. You know.
Yeah, 100%. I think it was a partial part to play, and it was the fact that we were in the right time at the right place. But the main thing was that, you know, Niall and Rob had the foresight over 18 months ago to do all of this and to start the leagues and to make them as professional as they are now. I think that's another reason why the community has stuck by them, you know, because the leagues are where they are now.
Sean, of course, a great. You keep doing that. You keep talking about Rob and me. You're as much of the team as
no, well, I'm talking about back in the day before I was before I came on as a partner. So yeah, no, this, you know, the good old days when I wasn't wrecking your head.
But again, like, and hats off as well to Motorsport Ireland for this new digital license, for this.
Yeah, huge,
you know, this it's brilliant. Like, it is fantastic, and it's brilliant for both sides. You know, it's not just a one-way thing either. You know, it's great for our Motorsport Ireland to kind of recognise that and to recognise the role that it plays, and you know, the role it could potentially play going forward. There's a bit of an incident there in the background, is there?
I think that was just good. I think that was I think that's good. Was kind of proving a point we were talking about earlier. Wasn't that just in the S and an M8 catching a GT4 at very high speed?
Yeah, Peter Dempsey. Yeah,
that's what's going to happen.
Let's see if we get someone else on that.
Does Peter race in VR?
No, that's me. That's me.
Oh, it's you. I was wondering what was happening to him.
Yeah, Niall's able to switch between drivers, but he's still in VR when he switches between drivers.
Let's go.
Okay, I didn't realize the onboard was in VR as well. That's cool.
Yeah. So
for anyone who's go ahead, Sam.
Who's never experienced VR, you can do that. Well, sorry, this will freak people out because it'll look like I'm doing this while in the car with Jordan Kelly. But what's happening there is the guys are not completing their laps and going back out. Let's ride on board with Peter McCann and see what it's like to do a couple of spins.
That's that.
Right.
That's that last corner, though. I just think
this is going to be the crack. I was going to say something really bad there, but that's the bit I'm really scared of. Is what's going to happen is when an M8 just pulled out of the way, and all of a sudden you're just presented with an almost stationary M4. Was true here.
No, lads, we have 19 people watching, by the way, so this I have a feeling this is going to get huge. Like, tomorrow we're going to wake up and there's going to be like 1.2 million people after watching this.
You reckon,
Sean? Yeah.
I think you need to, like, supporters club.
I guarantee you, I'm gonna wake up with emails from people that want to endorse me, and they're gonna be like, "You're deadly. Here's a Porsche. Here's a load of clothes. There you go.
Here's a load of clothes."
This is the only
wow, Sean. That's like the two most important things to you. A Porsche and some clothes.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it works. Yeah. Just 18 people watching on YouTube. Porsche.
Well, I don't want to be like a typical influencer and be asking for free food. Like, I just want a Porsche and some cool
free
kicks.
Clothes.
I couldn't possibly ask for a steak meal. I just want a Porsche instead.
No,
yeah, I'm gonna really.
I don't want your brie. Give me that
911. just on a semi-serious note, Tom Ingram there is in 11th. It was such a pity, kind of, to see him. He's such bad luck in Digital Motorsports events. I'd love to see him battling at the top.
Tom Ingram has had, like, literally, I've seen a car. You've seen this, Jack. I think you were commentating on the race. We won't get into who the driver was, but a car going off across the track. I think it was in Snetterton for a good 30 seconds. We were looking at it, and the only car he collected was Tom Ingram.
Yeah, it's poor old Tom. Even though, like, you have him in interviews, and he's like so nice to talk to as well. But he always he always tends to go on about how normally he qualifies badly, and usually he ends up further up the grid because he qualifies badly. Then as soon as he qualifies good, he just gets murdered most of the time. So he's trying to find a balance there. But yeah, no, Tom is like, I think he jumped into sim race at the start of lockdown as well. He's done very well, but he's actually genuinely enjoying it as well. Like he's just enjoying keeping up with everybody and racing in BTCC on the weekends, which isn't a bad thing. Is that a car flying through the air?
It was.
Yeah.
Is he only that new to it? I didn't realise. I thought I just assumed he'd been at it for a long
Let's
time.
have a look at the times we've got though, because as we were talking there, look at this. The top 10 in this is the GTE class now are separated by half a second.
That's crazy.
That's
Wow.
good stuff from
That's
McManus.
crazy
McManus
altogether.
is. I'm delighted to see him doing well. Hopefully he can qualify well, because he's really quick. But he's another one that gets
He gets
terrible
caught up
bad
in
luck.
stuff.
He
Yeah.
gets into trouble. Yeah, he's super talented though. He does deserve to do a bit better this championship. But another good person that actually impressed me the last race and in one of the previous championships was Kevin Shine. He was really, really consistent. I think it was Jack might be able to help me with this. I think it was the TCRs. He was super consistent. Didn't get many wins, but he was always up there and always challenging. And it was the same in the last one as well in the opening round of this one. So
I'm sorry to cut across, Sean. I don't remember Kevin in TCRs.
Okay.
I don't think he was in
I think-
TCRs.
Maybe it was the Porsche you were thinking of.
It
Porsche, maybe.
was the
Yeah.
Porsche.
Yeah.
Yes. It was the Porsche. That's what it was. But I think he's one to watch as he gets a bit more used to the drivers he's racing alongside and to the equipment, because he's only after picking up some new bits and pieces over the last couple of months as well. So I think it's all relatively new to him. But he's one that's impressing with his consistency.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that consistency, like, because I did a bit of digging on these guys going into, as the new boy, I feel like I need to take out, get a bit up to speed quicker than you lads who've been around for God knows how long. But
Good job, someone does.
actually. Yeah, I know. It's just a facade for the first 2 weeks. Don't worry. But he's 50% top 5 finishes in officials on road this year. Like in all of 2020, half his races he's finished in the top 5.
Kevin
McManus.
Shine. Oh, Brian
No,
McManus.
sorry, go back to Brian McManus. Should I say? Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah. He's just so consistent on the road. Like, and it's not even just a case of like getting them all at the start. He's constantly ticking away, constantly staying up there. Like, there's a lot of podiums and stuff, but I just thought that it's almost bang on 50%. Half of the races he's in, he finishes in the top 5. I was really a really good sign of his consistency, especially in, let's be honest, like official iRacing races. You're taking your life in your own hands there, you know what I mean? Like, we're not talking league racing here, like, so for him to be able to stay consistent and stay out of trouble in those, like, it's only a matter of time before it turns around from in the IDMC stuff,
Yeah, he's due. I mean, I think he had one. I thought he had a win. We won't go into that.
Don't mention what.
Let's
go there.
Let's do it. This is what it's all about.
It was one of the most spectacular moments. I mean, like, we're not laughing with you. No, we are laughing with you. No, hang on. What does it mean? We're not laughing at you, Brian.
We're laughing with you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the most spectacular donuts Brian did.
Oh, you went there.
Before the end of the race. But we love you, Brian, and we're rooting for you, and you're due.
There's no coming back from that. You know his number. His number of his car is, where is it? Yeah. If you look on the time, he actually has number 15 now as his car number, because he did the donuts on lap 14.
Yes.
Well, he's got a sense of humor.
True
about it,
story.
anyway.
Right, let's see who we on board with here. I think this is Jason Cooper, isn't it? Let's see if my connection can just hold up. We get one lap around, and this is going to be interesting because he's M4 in front of him. So tight section down in fourth, third. So we're going through here in fourth. Yeah, you see my connection's dropping off with the stream, but when the cars disappear like that, that just basically means my connection isn't holding up, which means Corinne's probably somewhere streaming something on Netflix at the moment.
Yeah, no, just to
because she's
just
not
to
watching
mention,
this, that's for sure.
yeah, just to mention Jason actually. He's a man who hasn't won in a little while, but
Mm.
he's fantastic. He was fantastic in TCRs. He won in
He really
in
was impressive.
Snetterton.
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't that when Keith and Craig came together in the last corner and Jason drove through and won? But yeah, no, Jason is like another one who's like mega consistent up there, and it'd be nice to see him get on the top step at some point because he's always there. Again, he just seems to have bad luck all the time.
What's he racing in the real world? Do you know?
I have no idea. I know he races something, but I don't know what he does.
I can't tell what that car is from the thumbnail. Saloon cars, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of really quick real world races in here. I wonder which of the field have actually driven and raced at Road Atlanta. Pretty sure Peter Dempsey will have done. Wayne Douglas probably has. Richie Faulkner, I'm sure, will have done as well. Devani might have. There's probably plenty of them out there who have done.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the question we must ask the lads in the Discord channel. So we've got a bit of insight before the race.
So what's your predictions then, lads? Let's go. 10 minutes to go, and I am busting for a Waz. So yeah.
Dempsey for me.
Which one?
Keith.
I think it's him. Go on, you go, Jack. Who do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know. I genuinely don't. But if I was to go with anyone, it'd probably be Keith. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think Keith's out for a bit of blood now. This one, so I'm going to say Keith P1. I'm going to go with a bold Brian P2 and Jordan P3.
Ooh.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Josh Malin does as well. And who else we got quick there? Peter Dempsey's right in the... Like, what's the difference there in time? Like, they're all 1:14.5. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 within half a second of each other at the minute. So it's going to be close. So it's anybody's race, really, isn't it?
I'm going to go with
anybody's but mine.
So they've all got that. Ultimate Pace, they've all got that. So for the GTE, I'm going to go a little bit. I think Tom Ingram deserves a race win and has it in him. And
no, this is as clear. This is as clear as the COVID restrictions. Like, seriously, come on.
Yeah, but I'm fancy Brian for it. I think it's going to be Brian, Josh Malin, and I'm going to go with Tom Ingram in the top 3. What about the Pro-Ams? Harry McGovern, fastest at the moment. He's gone really well. Unless he's gone into the back of Chris McCann, but we won't talk about that. But Chris McCann himself, Stenning hasn't put in a time yet tonight. Look, he hasn't been on, so we don't know. As he said,
what age is Harry McGovern? He's like 16 or something, isn't he?
Possibly is, yeah. I'd say he is 16, yeah. Hasn't he been out in the Janettas already?
Janettas Juniors, yeah. But you can start them at 14 again. Where are the Pro-Am times?
Let me see.
How do we tell from this screen who's Pro and who's Pro-Am? Is there any way to, other than knowing the names?
Wait, hold on. Let me just see if I can, as if by magic.
I can just picture Kevin with his spreadsheet in front of him there, and he knows all the answers, but he doesn't want to say it because it's only race 2.
Just like
go on, Kevin, tell us.
Files, pulling them out left, right, and centre. Yeah, I've printed out 1,000 pages on Harry McGovern. I can tell you the exact time and birth and ward in which he was. Yeah.
And sure, isn't his granny lovely?
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. Yeah. We're really going Sunday game there. With
right.
That.
Can you see the times there now? Victor Cullen's in as well, going well. Right, talks amongst yourselves. I'm going to have to go for a Waz. Back in a second.
But yeah, the GT4 is Yeah, yeah. I was actually running around with these guys. What's it, last week? When we after the watch party on Friday, we had a bit of a session. It was actually really interesting for as a total pleb, to race along these guys. Like, you know, I mean, I like some of these guys are relatively new to iRacing, and I was going around Le Mans and thinking, 353, be happy enough with that. 352, be happy enough with that. Bottom split, you know, top dollar. And then I look and Jordan Kelly just does a 345, and I'm like, yeah. You know, it just shows.
Did you give your podium for the pros? Because I'd be very interested to hear that.
I didn't. I think Jordan's going to win it though.
Okay.
I do think Jordan's going to win it. I just he was off like an absolute shot 2 weeks ago, and I feel like it Road Atlanta first couple of laps. If like what amazed me about Jordan was he was on the pace within 2 or 3 laps. You know, he was getting it down to 346s, 345, 346s almost immediately, which was I couldn't believe. Like with a full tank of fuel and cold tires. You know, so I feel like if Jordan will get out like a shot, he'd be 2 or 3 seconds up after the first couple of laps, and then whatever mayhem is inevitably going to happen behind him, it's just a case of who that takes out. Like I really hope McManus does well. Keith is flying as well. Like he's obviously out for vengeance. I just feel like Jordan is I was so impressed by Jordan's performance last week that it's very hard for me to see beyond him for a win. Like as you say, like it's so, you know, Road Atlanta is one of those courses like it's different with Le Mans, you know, like you kind of get to the first Mont straight and things are beginning to figure themselves out, whereas Road Atlanta there's going to be chaos from I'm going to need those spreadsheets to have an idea of what is going on. You know, it's a
tough track. It really is a tough track. Like myself and Rob, we'd never driven it at all before. It was actually last night, and I just could not piece the sectors together at all. Even like as this was going on this evening, I was trying to get a lap together, and I was still doing 119s or something. So yeah, it's a really tough track. I think Rob obviously is, you know, he's a legend in real life. We both used to kart, but he's transferred that over to Mondello and stuff, and like he's super quick in a real kart. But I think Rob, you struggled a little bit last night as well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I'm useless at this stuff, to be honest with you. By comparison, I'm kind of, you know, I'm beaten by a man on a mouse. So like, but it's great fun. Like even being shit, like it's still great fun. Like because there's other people who are shit as well, like yourself, Sean. So we can be shit together. Niall, are you back from your?
As long as I have a mate in it, I'm happy.
You know the Simpsons moment where it's like, "Can I come too?" and you just roll up the window. Like I feel like that when people are like, you know, people call themselves shit, and then I'm like, "Bye, bye." I'm also terrible, and then I join them, and they're like 2 seconds a lap quicker, and I'm like, "Oh." They're even worse than that.
I'm back.
Well,
and
we get some drivers in. We need to get some drivers dragged in.
Oh, well, why don't I do this? I'm going to go out on track. We've had a few beers. Not crash into people. Talk about what I'm expecting the race to look like, and one of you guys go down into driver's track, try and grab somebody up, and we'll just drag them in and have a chat to them.
Okay. Kevin, just a heads up, when Niall goes out on track, the first thing he says is, "Watch this."
Actually, do you know what? You're probably because we've got. Let me know if you can't. Wait, you should be able to do that because you guys are admins.
Here, yeah. Who do you want pulled in? I'll try drag someone in. I'm gonna make an absolute balls of this, but you're gonna end up like 20 people.
Let me see who we got there to talk to.
I wouldn't just drag them straight in. I would go down into the driver's chat.
Come out our mouth.
Here, Jack, you're good at this stuff.
Jack, why don't you jump down into VRA racing and Pro-Am, whatever, and see us down there? And
go and suss out whether Evan is in a sweary mood or not.
Yeah, that's really
push the boat out. Episode 1.
Yeah. Are we past the hour now? We can just cut it off there.
We've 3 minutes.
Right. Look at me. Right. Can everyone look at me? Watch this.
Watch this.
Usually followed by a colossal explosion.
Look at that. I've already crashed and I haven't left the pits. Right.
Yeah. It's a watch this, bin it in turn 1, reset to pits, and you're good.
This is
Talk
going
us
to
around
be
the lap
bad.
now.
This is going to
By
be
the
bad.
way, we haven't talked about this yet, and I don't think it shouldn't be too much of an issue because there isn't the mandatory pit stop. But that pit entry and exit is horrible.
It's
Yeah.
Like,
woeful.
what were they thinking when they were designing that? Oh yeah, really high speed aero right-hander into like, and you know,
Do you not
like,
find that with every track though? Like think of Brands, especially Brands Indy.
yeah, Brands is poor. Brands
Yeah.
is poor. but,
Name
like, I
okay.
don't
What
know.
name one good pit exit?
Silverstone.
Fine.
Interlagos.
Yeah. This is particularly bad.
That's two.
Okay.
Keep
Right.
coming.
I managed
Uh,
dialing, so
Spa. Although
Adam-
Spa's dodgy enough.
Who have we got? Jack?
That's good. Yeah.
Adam
good.
things in with it.
Adam.
Adam Dowling.
Stop, lads.
Oh Jesus! Right.
Yeah, you managed to scrape the bottom of the barrel with this one.
Welcome, Adam. Adam can
actually-
actually tell us about his new setup.
Adam went and bought a sim. It's like, what is that like in? It's biblical. That's what that is.
It is.
It's
Reckon,
in
definitely.
all of this time of COVID and despair and all that stuff. Adam buying a sim is just it's
It's
a
like
symbol
me
of
giving
hope.
someone a discount code or something like that. Something mental.
Imagine, like, that's
Lads, look at this time. Look at this time.
Jesus. Joking aside, Adam, right? What gear were you using up until you got your awesome new rig?
I used a serious variety of makeshift rigs. Mainly desks, like really shaky ones that when they get turned quick either way, the desk would shake, and you wouldn't be sure if it would fall apart or not. I've used ironing boards.
Go whatever way you want. This is gonna end bad.
I've used so many stuff you've been modeling up, but yeah, mainly it's just been like desks and stuff.
Still got it.
What wheels and pedals and shifters and stuff were you using?
All just G29 stuff.
And you're still using that right now?
Yeah.
And he's
I think
Pretty
everyone's giving
impressive.
out to me here.
I haven't been on the sim in about 4 months, so I'm still a bit rusty. Like I should be
You're
quicker.
quite quick though.
But yeah,
He's mid pack at best.
Yeah, I was always mid
Yeah, but considering you're using an ironing board and a G29, like
Oh, don't be
like,
dissing
I
the G29.
I have a DD1 and sprints and a P1X. Like,
See, just
But you also
guaranteed
have
it's
a
pretty
beer
much
can holder.
so- well, yeah, it's more of a bar, I think, because it's quite. It can hold like 6 bottles. So
But I have, I'm currently using double-sided tape on the underside of my G29 because the desk I'm using has one of those like really awkward metal bars.
Just look at the
underneath them
speed
so
of
that
it.
won't
G-
clamp.
Wow.
So it is
double-sided tape.
double-sided
Yeah,
tape
how
to
did
keep
I
the
even hold
thing glued down because it's fallen. It tilts backward towards me off the table. So by using double-sided tape and whatever clamp I can use, it's actually holds some way solid. So, like, I must be the only one that's pushing as I'm turning. Like I'm gonna get into this habit of pushing as I'm turning to try and keep it from falling off the desk. Yeah, that is.
look,
that's-
Adam,
we
could
have
you,
13
you
viewers,
can do a
so
lot
we
of
give
practice.
Simon a shout out. Sorry, Rob. Go
Let's
ahead.
get some organisation to this. It's getting out of hand.
Yeah, can Adam? Are you able to talk around the lap here while Niall's driving?
I can
'Cause
do
know
that. I'm like the Jimmy
I was gonna say, he
Broadband.
can't. You're like Jimmy Broadband, are you?
Let's get some organisation, lads. Let's
I'm-
get Jimmy Broadband on
I'm like
board.
Jimmy Broadband.
And Max Verstappen.
Broadband, I said.
top speeds.
Go on then, Niall.
Go for it.
Right, slow car on the left. Here we go. Let's get in behind. That is gonna be Chris McCann. Go on, Chris. Go on, Chris. Oh, look at that. He didn't even want to.
Imagine
Right,
Chris
so
being
last
afraid
corner
of
coming
getting
up.
involved.
Look, so we'll let Chris go around. Right, so we'll follow Chris around. Oh no, that's not Chris.
That's Ronan in a.
It's going brilliantly.
This
Ronan
is
was
such a
really-
great guy.
You are.
This is pro, right. Anyway, first, this in the obviously in the M4, lot slower entry into, and it's going to be a huge issue during the race. Fourth gear for the M4s down, coming into this tight, as I call it, everything from that corner on up through here is just like, oh no, you're hugging that curve really tight on the left in the M8s, and you can get so much better turn in. Nose comes out in the M4 as you hit the curbs, into the braking zone, down to third, in tight. Everybody's going to be up the inside in the M8s there, trying to get the run. As you can see here, who's that going past? As Chris McCann's trying to eat cheeky bugger. Hard braking down into third. Some M4s taking this in third, and this is going to be the issue here. Second gear, tight, run him out, push him right out to the end, and then look at that. You're caught. He was like going past Niall Murray on totally gone the inside, but I've still managed to keep Chris McCann behind me as we come down the back straight. Not getting into sixth gear in this thing, and I'm watching for Adam Dowling, who's out on track as we go past Kevin Shine. Watching for the 100 board just before breaking in. You can see just how different the speed is. So that's me lapping faster than probably one of the favourites for the race, Chris McCann, just saying. So yeah, that's a lap around where I'm a lot faster than Chris McCann.
A humble lap around Road Atlanta.
Jimmy Broadband.
Yeah.
live from my hot press.
And Max Verstappen is the other one.
He does.
Oh, lads. Yeah.
Max Verstappen and Jimmy Broadband.
I won't even go near the gamer muscle one, but yeah.
How Jimmy isn't sponsored by Virgin, I really don't know. Like,
I'm sponsored by Kingspan.
Well, we're actually genuinely approaching libel laws now.
Look at this though, seriously, I
really
would
end of
blow
my
all
broadcasting
these
career.
pro-ams away. There you go.
Is that why you're 42nd under this night?
Look at the speed difference of these guys. There is going to be, we're not going to get into the, I was nearly saying it again, but I'm not going to. There is going to be an issue down this back straight, especially into this last tight chicane section where somebody's going to pull out like that, and all of a sudden an M8's going to be presented with a stationary M4. That's my prediction.
Yeah, it is going to be, isn't it? I think until we've seen this kind of onboard footage with the two classes, it's I didn't realise quite how much it was going to be an issue. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how the drivers all deal with it.
Well, they're going to have to. It's reverse grid as well, so that's going to be fun. And
that is going to be tasty.
Yeah,
it's gonna be seriously.
Look at that.
I'm seriously really looking forward to that last corner. It's just coming over that blind crest, and like as you say, all of a sudden you're presented with GT4, and you're trying to get up the inside of him and make sure you get through before you clean them out on the outside line. It's just racecraft is going to massively come into it. Like, we had enough incidents as we were going through at the start at the top of the show, like in terms of Le Mans and what the potential for that. You can imagine. I shouldn't probably say this given the fact that it's a national championship, but I'm kind of expecting carnage, to be honest, the first couple of laps before everyone begins to kind of figure themselves out. I don't know if there'll be so much of an issue with guys dangerously overtaking. I still think there's enough places on Road Atlanta where you can get a safe enough overtake done like that. That's straight all the way into the chicane, taking the inside line. Even you saw the difference, Niall, yourself.
There you go, watch
and
this.
We all saw it, like just coming into the braking zone, how much quicker they can outbrake you. Is phenomenal. So there is huge, like even there now. I think is that Kevin Shine going past? Oh, it's Kevin actually in the M4s.
Yeah, that was me just being a little bit shit, but.
Well, you're only what was it, Chris McCann? Was it you were saying how much quicker you were than Chris? Was it?
Easily like a half second, yeah.
That looks to be about 4 seconds now.
My timing sheets here say that Chris is on a 126.7 and you're a 129.5, so
sounds more like it.
There goes Harry. There's another one to watch. So let's see if I can keep up with these. But yeah, I think like Kevin, while you were saying you were new to kind of our races, like what we've been building from basically from the very start is we've always had an agenda of almost like a virtual race academy, where I think our first race, the only thing you had to be able to do was sign in and be on the grid. And every series we've introduced something, whether it was setups, fixed setups, brake bias, tire management, But this is the championship where we said you have to put it all together. And being able to manage traffic, being able to manage your tires, being able to pick your moment. You know, one of the big Achilles heels of sim racing is the fact it's do or die. It's like every corner is your last corner. And that's why we picked this championship with the two classes on the same grid. Is okay, fair enough, you can still take that approach if you want to, but you're not going to win the championship with that.
And not only that, but if you do take that approach, you're going to have stewards that are not just going to give you 4x, they're going to give you, you know, there's potentially more serious consequences for it, you know, potential, like, that's why I think I just love this idea of the live race stewards and
the licensing as well, yeah.
And the licensing, exactly, and how that affects how one, you know, it's really great that it brings a whole level of real seriousness to it and actually needing to be able to be smart. And even I thought that was really interesting what Michael when he was saying about Alex last week, whereas somebody who's purely a sim racer myself, I would have seen Alex's times and the first thing I would have thought was like, crap, like I haven't a chance of catching this fella, that's the race over, he's so much quicker than me. Whereas Michael, with all of his experience, kind of knew, well, his tire, you know, that could cause his tires to go off, that brings an extra little bit of strategy, I can get back at him, it isn't gone. And I thought it was really interesting hearing that from him.
Yeah, and the other thing about like having reverse grids and that, it does introduce that it is a bit of potluck. Like you just see me there going through Kevin and Harry McGovern as they spun out. It does introduce that you can win, and of course the big thing we get up. Like, watch, wait and see this skill. He's waiting to see this. Totally meant that.
Yeah, and that.
Here, Niall, I'm just going to cut across you if I can. I've dragged one of the VRA racing legends into the commentary box here, Mr. Evan Walsh. Evan,
wait, hold on. What time is it?
Here comes the lead.
Hang on, we passed the watershed
here.
Evan's competing in the. Are you in pro or pro-am, Evan?
Pro.
Oh, how dare you!
Can't believe you need to ask that, Ewan. Yeah.
And what's your plan of attack for Wednesday?
Don't die.
Is that what it's going to be? Genuinely, is that what it's going to be? Is it like a race of attrition, like in this
yeah,
thing?
definitely. Like traffic is just going to be the biggest issue. Even M8s seem to be a bit of an issue, and I'm in an M8, so it's just trying to get past lads that might be a bit slower and trying to react to what lads are going to do in front of you, because it's such a big car. It's very hard to kind of figure out where you are.
And it's a narrow track, isn't it? It's not wide. Like Le Mans, massive, and this is the absolute polar opposite. Like,
yeah,
so,
it's very kind of one line and one line only. And if you come off that, there's only 3 places that it's kind of safe, and then other than that, you're really taking a chance. But
you are driving there now, Evan, are you?
I'm driving now, yeah.
I've never heard you being this nice in your life.
I have to be,
I like this, Evan.
So
I like it like this.
Hope you enjoyed episode 1, because that's the only one there'll ever be.
Sorry, we've already had enough libel to go. But like, I suppose, how important does that make qualifying then, with that way or without attrition? Like, you know, I mean, most puts with Le Mans, there's always a chance that you'll make up places where fellas making mistakes. But when it comes to Road Atlanta, if fellas makes mistakes, the likelihood of you actually being directly affected by that goes through the roof.
As in with the likes of qualifying and that?
Yeah, how much more?
Hold on, are we live?
Yeah, we are still live.
Important to qualify well, you know, just kind of give yourself the best chance of avoiding any accidents that are further up the road, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Like even my own Le Mans qualifying was very bad. I thought I'd have a third lap and they just kind of ran out of time, and I think I was I was back in like 20 something place anyway. And even during the race I managed to get up 14 spots, I think, thereabouts. But yeah, around here there's no hope of it at all. Like, you're just going to get stuck in a train of cars, and the guys ahead are just going to pull away. Even if you're a fast guy, there's just nowhere to go. Like,
Genuinely though, it hasn't been that bad tonight, Evan, has it?
In here,
yeah.
There's been a lot of moments here and there, mainly with ourselves, yeah, but we were just trying to get it out of our system. But there's been a few moments here and there you're kind of coming across lads. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's practice, it's a bit different. Lads don't really care as much, but no, there's definitely been a few kind of questionable moves being made in places that you wouldn't do it during the race, but I could see some lads trying to do it in a race.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. Like, where, because we did. I was just saying to the lads, we did the Petit Le Mans last week. We were actually first after 4 hours before my internet decided to attack the maggot. But we we were in GTs, and you kind of get with the LMP2s. Now, obviously, you're the bully, not the bullied, on Wednesday. But you must yourselves know, like obviously that long straight off the double right-hander going down into that chicane is one spot where it's pretty easy to get stuff done. Like how difficult is it coming into that last corner and first corner as well? The first corner is a little bit easier because I know the M4s can stay out wide and then just take that later apex, but that last corner coming over the crest, you spot an M4 in front of you. Like, there's no real slowing down at that point. You've just kind of got to send it in the inside, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, even the last corner is very dodgy because you're expecting the lad that's in the slower car to know you're there, and he's kind of like, he's perfectly entitled to be running his own race. It's up to us at the end of the day to try and make the move and do it right, but it's I find the easiest way of doing it is kind of line up the move before the corner and get the good exit on them, and they tend to kind of stick to their own line. You know where they're going to go generally, and it's just trying to get that good exit out and get past them as fast as you can and hope the guys behind you get stuck for a while. Like.
So what are you talking? What kind of cars are we talking? You're talking obviously the exit, that left-hander going up the hill, that people tend to spin at, where you kind of hit that curve on the right-hand side, and then obviously the double right-hander as well.
Yeah, the double right-hander coming out of it, or that one, where you're coming up the hill where you have that big run out, but it's a bit hit and miss depending on how some of the BMWs can kind of react funny to you coming up on them really quick, and if they get a dodgy line coming into that, generally the curbs can kind of throw them around, and they can end up coming out in front of you, or they might spin and end up clipping you behind, and it's a bit dodgy, but it won't be the end of the world.
Let's just try a lap here with Peter Dempsey's just gone fastest, lad. So it's 14.45, 55, 57. So I've got it lined up here. Let's see what that lap looked like from Peter's perspective. Hopefully this is it now. But
tell us, Evan, you know Jordan very, very well. He's on your team. Has he got anything left in the tank? Is he sandbagging at all, or is he going balls to the wall at this stage?
I'd say he does. He seems to think he has more time. Every time somebody goes quicker, he tends to just pull it out of the bag and put in another fastest lap. So I think that's all it is at this stage. It's just who's got the biggest ego, I suppose, and it's just I don't know how to put it in a nice way, so I won't put it anyway at all. But it's just who can go the fastest, simple as that. Like at this point.
It's interesting to see the rivalries that are starting up, and there's no bad blood between the guys. Like, they all get on well and everything, but like, as soon as it's cut and thrust, and it's one person's at the top 1 minute, another person's at the top of the next. There's naturally becomes this kind of rivalry and kind of, I won't say dislike, but it's like what am I trying to say? It's just this, like, it's serious rivalry. Like, it's a proper thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not, we don't hate, like, the likes of Turn 3 are kind of, I suppose, the other biggest team that are in here. And there's always like, oh, we want to go out and we want to try beat Turn 3 or whatever, but we don't ever go out and say like, oh, we're going to run them all off the track and just beat them that way. Like,
are you talking biggest team in terms of the amount of Turn 3 cars on track?
Biggest, yeah. So like, I suppose we're probably Turn 3, and I suppose ourselves are we have the most cars on grid, I suppose. So it's always nice to turn around and say, oh yeah, we bet, Keith in Turn 3, or even Jordan beating Keith in round 1 was, everyone was kind of expecting Keith to run away with it, like, and here was Jordan, and he was just in a world of his own, like. It was kind of nuts, and it's kind of good for us as well, because it kind of makes us want to do better than to kind of get up on Jordan's level, like.
Well, I think that's the main point. Like, we are missing an awful lot of from an Irish perspective, an awful lot of very, very, very talented boat racers and sim racers from this league. Like we do trying to get people in there. Huge shout out to Charlie Eastwood again, like winning Le Mans, and may turn up this week for the race or not. He is registered, so again, and Dan Harper as well, just winning at Nürburgring 24 hour, no mean feat at all, especially in that rain and stuff. And I suppose getting out, being able to race against.
Conor Shanahan is due to take part as well, but I know he was busy doing the T4 World Cup, which he's doing quite well in.
And look, none of the the Targa Racing guys are here for this championship, or it's always really entertaining to have Barry and Shane and Keith as well from the Rabbits Racing brothers. So I wouldn't say we're at full strength in terms of the grid, but just what Evan was saying there, it is. I've certainly seen it. Like people just keep pushing, and I'm always saying it. There's nobody's going to get down into the 13s here today. It very may, like someone may do it. There's a 14.4 from Peter, and come pole lap, I don't know what they're doing to kind of warm up the tyres and doing all this stuff. There's different knacks and little tricks to it, but I wouldn't be surprised. What do you think, Evan? A 13.9? Another half second?
I see it want to be getting fairly creative with your lines now. I think.
Well, I'm just looking at the lines that Peter's taking here. Like, he is dancing across curbs. He's really on the limits of traction. Look at that, what's inside. That's experience around that track now. But
yeah, it's a prime example, and it's normally the M8s take the inside line there with the M4s. It's interesting how you see Peter was able to kind of react there and go around the outside. Like it's really going to be down to instinct. I think instinct is going to be a big help in this one on Wednesday. It's going to be so much of just making that split second decision and hoping that it's the right one to avoid traffic, because there's there'll be a lot of places that could be decided simply by how much time you spend in the pit. There's a lot of guys that'll be spending time in the pit undoubtedly, and it's about kind of minimizing that damage to get back out on track as soon as possible.
So let's we're 20 minutes over, but let's just run down through the timings here. And look, I enjoyed that tonight. I think we made it out again. It was very candid. We all just jumped on and said let's have a look at this. But Peter Dempsey's come in and he's really just 10/10ths in it, snuck it out from underneath Jordan. Keith's still out there again, so he's going to go faster again. We might just try and jump on it for one more lap with Keith around.
According to Nicky Meredith, his teammate Pete is the only one who's actually driven here at Road Atlanta in real life as well. So,
fair advantage.
Yeah.
It would be great though to get Peter in even after the race or pre the race on Wednesday on the Apex broadcast to hear his opinion on the iRacing track versus the real track, and also what he's able to kind of bring from the real world experience into racing in this.
That would be very interesting.
It'd be really interesting to hear him. Yeah.
He's never once jumped into an interview room, so he's got to wait and see on that.
Drag him kicking and screaming in. So
I'm sure he would.
I'm sure we can arrange it with his press officer.
Let's just look down to the GT4s. Where are we starting off there? They should be in.
Well, any time from Alex Stenning. I don't think he's been on, has he?
No, he hasn't.
No.
So you've got Harry McGovern, Dave McGuire, Chris McCann, Shane Connolly's going really, really well. It's great to see him up there. Evan Griffin, Johnny McMullen, Mark Burney, Kevin Shine. Like, these are all racers. That guy down there, Niall Murray, that time must be wrong.
No comment.
I'm sure there was an off-track log.
Yeah, there was something not right about that.
Yeah,
of course.
But look, I guess before we sign off, tough week in Irish motorsports with the sad news of
John Campion
passing. Yeah, we were always really, I suppose, honoured. Rob, back in the day, I know Keith came over to Rome with us, but of course John was our first kind of sponsor of this thing and had the vision, and paid for our flights over and entry into the FIA Motorsport event. And never really made much about it, just kind of gave us that little push to go and do it, and off we went. And that was really the start of everything. So a tragic loss for Irish motorsport. He's always there in the background and supporting so many drivers, and we'll be thinking of his wife Suzanne and his family this week. But I think that's a nice way to kind of sign off this stream, and thanks anyone who's joined it. Like, many people have, geez, we still have 13 people, 7 people beyond ourselves. We must be watching it twice, lads.
just on John as well, because I wouldn't be, as you guys know, like, I wouldn't be massively I wouldn't have had a heritage in motorsport or anything like that, but I've interviewed a few people now over the course of my career that have worked with John and have been part of the CJJ Motorsports. Nicole Drought, I only talked to, I'd say, a few months ago. And I was looking at some of her tributes, and you said that that he had that kind of vision. Like, the vision is one of those things that, like, even he was starting to go girl, the 1,000 girls between 13 and 16 into go-karts, and it's that big thinking. It's not just we were talking earlier at the top of the show about clicks, and there can be clicks and there can't be, or whatever. It's people like John and the sort of support that he gives kind of opens it up and opens the sport up to people that wouldn't otherwise be able to get an opportunity. And it's definitely something that can only massively help motorsport in Ireland going forward. For people even like myself who would never have had the financial backing or wouldn't have had the connections, but there's people like that, especially girls. There's a massive with the Formula Female and everything that's going on. It's brilliant to see people like that around the country that are being given an opportunity to get into cars and give it a go, and a lot of them are damn quick, like Nicole. So I think anybody like John who has that vision and uses uses some of the wealth that he's earned to try and push other people forward that don't have that same opportunity. It's I think a lot of the tributes that have poured in have been very well deserved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well said.
So we'll leave it there. We said we'd keep these for about an hour. I think we've ticked the boxes there in a way. We said we'd have a look back over the last race. We did say we'd have a look at some of the incidents and decisions we made. We kind of missed that bit, so we might try that the next one. We'll see what the feedback is on this tonight. As ever, a huge thanks for everyone who puts the time and effort in. Brian McManus did edit together that video for us. I think Evan put together the name. There was a lot of debate about the name for this.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there, but
we literally are YouTube would delete it if we actually give them any of the examples, apart from maybe 2 of them. So I think we should just
Simpletons was a high vote at one stage.
Simpletons was very good, yeah.
But thanks to Evan, because he put up with me there when we were going through this. But yeah, so off the grid, is that what we're settling on?
I like off the grid.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe people have some suggestions they can leave in the comments, I don't know.
Oh yeah, give us some ideas, because we really are scraping the barrel. So
all there is to say, thanks Rob for giving your time tonight. Sean, as always, that great tip on using a mouse mat as a beer holder is consumer gold right there. Adam Dowling for jumping in and basically not really telling us much about his sim build, so he, other than he can race on a desk. According to
an ironing board.
And an ironing board. And Evan, as always, jumping in, talking us through, and for keeping it PC. Thanks for that. Kevin, as always, the professional. Did you win any awards in the end?
No, I was only up for one. Sadly, I went to News Talk and Radio 1, so not bad company to be in all the same. We did win 2 as a station though, so I think we're pretty happy. But sports broadcaster next year, that's all.
That's it.
Easy.
Vote for Kevin. And from Germany, have I missed anyone there? I don't think so. I'll leave it to you, Jack. Sign us off in German.
It's only been a week.
Pressure.
Jesus Christ, man, I'm barely settled in.
Was that German? I don't know. Anyway, thanks.
Somebody can translate that. I don't know.
All there is to say, actually, do you know what? Hats off to you, Kevin. The last stream, I had a big laugh at it. You signed us off in Irish. Why don't you make that your signature move? Do that again.
Yeah, God, this is the new catchphrase.
Oh, you're going to have to do this every round now, Kevin.
Yeah. So on of August, Air Day Katie and Sluggerfall.
Slongafol. There you go, Rob.
Yeah. Here, let's hear Rob say that.
9-9. Oh, shit.